It started with a scream, not hers, theirs. The Scarvathi guards didn't understand what was happening. The chamber they'd proudly called the Bleeding Pit had been humming for 27 straight days with human agony, until suddenly everything went quiet. Then came the scream, a wet, ragged alien scream, followed by silence. And that's when every single sentient organism in Sub-Level 7 realized something had gone horribly wrong. Rewind 27 days. Captain Alex Rourke was taken alive on a battlefield that used to be an orbital trade hub. The Scarvathi had launched a surprise blitz through a wormhole corridor, assuming the humans wouldn't respond fast enough. They assumed wrong. Rourke didn't go down easy. Her squad was wiped out in a blast. She'd crawled out of the wreckage with half her arm shredded, bloodied, limping, laughing through cracked teeth. She'd killed 11 Scarvathi before they overwhelmed her. They were ecstatic. A living human soldier, a Deathworlder, a trophy, a chance to test out their bio-interrogation methods on the species known for biting off their own tongues before spilling secrets. They dragged her into a spiked interrogation capsule, injected her with sedatives, and announced it would take weeks to break her. She woke up 5 minutes later and asked for a drink. They didn't give her one. She grinned anyway. Day 1 through 4 were physical. Beatings, muscle disruption fields, neural lashings. Rourke counted ceiling cracks during it. There were 91, though one looked more like a squiggle. Day 5. They broke 3 of her ribs with an oscillating pressure clamp. She laughed and said it felt like a Swedish massage. Day 8. Acid droplets on exposed nerves. She asked if they could increase the pH. It felt too mild. Day 10. They brought in a memory flayer, supposed to rewrite trauma over and over until the brain liquefied. Rourke used the downtime to mentally write her kid a birthday poem. Day 14. They gave her food, spoiled rations mixed with crushed insect paste. She pretended it was tomato soup and made exaggerated mmm sounds until one of the guards threw up. Day 17. They told her Earth had fallen. She asked if they could repeat that monologue but with more feeling. Day 20. They played looped screams of human prisoners through bone conductors embedded in her skull. She added harmonies. By day 25, they were the ones looking pale. Scarvathi guards began rotating out faster. Interrogation techs reported equipment malfunctions around her. One claimed her smile caused a nervous breakdown. Another tried to defect, begging to be transferred to sewage detail. The captain of the facility, High Adjudicator Krosk, called an emergency meeting. "She hasn't broken," one technician hissed. "She hasn't blinked," another added. "I watched her dislocate her own wrist just to reach a dropped protein cube," the medic said. Krosk grunted. "Then we increase the pressure. Apply Protocol Astartes 9. Everyone in the room froze. Astartes 9 was reserved for biochemical spiritual evisceration. Even most Deathworlders begged for death by day 3. "You want to kill her?" the tech stammered. "No," Krosk said. "I want her compliant. If she survives, we'll know we've found the limits of humanity. If she doesn't, we'll still have a corpse to dissect." They initiated it that night. Day 26. Rourke stopped smiling. Day 27. She began humming a tune under her breath. Software repetitive. The Scarvathi didn't recognize it, but later the Conquered Archives would identify it as the theme song to an old Earth children's show involving colorful talking animals and birthday cakes. Day 28. They entered the chamber and found the table empty. Her cuffs had been melted, somehow. The blast-proof chair reduced to slag. The guard posted outside the door was missing. Only his jaw remained, clamped around the stun baton he'd held. The cameras. Looped footage of Rourke screaming, on a 6-second delay. No one noticed. Not until it was too late. High Adjudicator Krosk didn't die quickly. Rourke wanted him to hear every second. She entered the command room in silence. Blood-soaked jumpsuit, hair singed, no weapons. She didn't need any. 3 guards fired at her before she moved, all missed. She dropped the first with a thrown oxygen tank, snapped the second's neck with a chair leg. The third tried to plead for mercy in 7 languages. She answered in only one, no. By the time Krosk realized what was happening, she was sitting in his chair, sipping from his canteen, blood drying on her arms. He crawled backward, his mandibles twitching, eyes wide. You could have escaped days ago." Rourke raised an eyebrow. "Yeah. Why stay?" She shrugged. Torture was relaxing. Good stretch, Great cardio. You're insane. No, she said. I'm a mother, and today's my kid's birthday. She stood. I promised I'd do something memorable, and then she turned the lights off. 32 minutes later, she walked out of the facility, alone. She didn't look back. The cameras, what few still functioned, caught her walking into the burning daylight with a smile, blood dripping from her fingers, her boots crunching over broken bone. In her hand, a small, battered photo of her daughter. Pinned to it was a birthday card, handmade. Crayon letters scrawled in human English, "You're my hero, Mommy." Back in orbit, a stolen Scarvathi shuttle lifted off. One transmission sent to Earth Command. Prisoner released. Base cleared. All's well. Oh, and tell Sam happy birthday. Alex. It wasn't the blood. It wasn't the screams. It wasn't even the dismembered adjudicator nailed to his own war banner. It was the birthday card. A folded, dirt-smudged piece of paper, written in crayon, taped to the broken console of the Scarvathi command room. It said, "Dear Mommy, I hope you're having a good day. I miss you. Happy birthday to me. Love, Sam." That's what broke the Galactic news cycle. Not the mass execution of the facility's personnel. Not the systemic sabotage that collapsed 24 Scarvathi black sites overnight. Not even the live footage of Alex Rourke, grinning, leaving the compound in flames behind her. Number it was a child's note. Because that's when the galaxy realized she didn't escape. She scheduled it. It started slow. At first, the Conquered labeled it as isolated retaliatory behavior, a traumatized prisoner, emotional instability, an unfortunate consequence of war. But then came the footage. A janitorial drone recovered corrupted logs showing the prison's timeline. Day after day, Rourke didn't just endure the torture, she critiqued it, commented on technique, ranked them out of 10. Once, she corrected a guard's grip on the nerve hook. Another time, she asked for jazz music. And every day, like clockwork, she looked at the ceiling and muttered, "Not yet," until day 28. When, as the guards entered with scalpels and sedatives, she smiled and whispered, "Showtime." Earth Command denied nothing. They didn't have to. Because the video of her lighting the fuse with a piece of wiring, walking away in slow motion as the facility combusted behind her, went viral across 12 star systems. And Rourke? She didn't give interviews. She didn't apologize. She sent one message, "Tell my daughter I'll be home soon." And yes, I got her present. It's a facility's worth of justice. That's when the Scarvathi made their second mistake. They issued a bounty on a human, on a mother, on a woman who'd been tortured for nearly a month and had decided that was recreation. They didn't get mercenaries. They got silence. No bounty hunters accepted the contract. No ships tracked her shuttle. Instead, she started showing up in unexpected places. A Scarvathi colony here, a black market arms hub there, always alone, never officially armed. Yet every time she left, someone important turned up dead. A legend grew. They called her the Butcher of 28, or Mommy Deathwish. Some even called her Sam's Shadow. Alien children whispered about her like a boogeyman. Military instructors used her name to shut up unruly cadets. "She's not real," some insisted, until they found the mercenary bar on Rylos Prime. 24 armed patrons, all vaporized, no blast marks, no entry wounds, just one thing pinned to the wall with a plasma dagger, a new birthday card. This one said, "Sam says hi." Back on Earth, Sam Rourke was trending. The Galactic Federation, unsure whether to praise or fear Earth's parentage traditions, attempted to send gifts. Earth rejected them. Sam, now under constant security, began getting letters from other kids, other species, thousands of them, all saying the same thing. "My mom, dad, sibling, friend isn't back yet. Can yours help?" Sam would read them every night, and Alex, somewhere in the black void of stars, got every single one, particularly the one from a Talian child. "They took my sister. She was brave, but they said they'd break her." Alex marked the coordinates. Inside a cargo vessel painted to look like a mining hauler, Rourke reviewed schematics. The target, Talian Penal Facility 3 Gamma, guarded by 500 troops, outer planetary orbit, reinforced hull, most would call it suicide. She called it Tuesday. Her plan, land inside, get captured, wait 27 days, then let hell begin. She grinned. Tradition's tradition. Back on Talia, the prison guards were reviewing their logs. They noticed a strange spike in activity. Security systems fluctuated. Power surges. A janitor claimed a shadow moved through a wall. Nobody listened. On day 1, a new prisoner arrived. She didn't struggle. On day 2, she asked about the schedule. On day 7, she complimented the cook. On day 15, she recited bedtime stories from memory, without flinching through the torture. On day 26, she requested a pen. On day 28, the prison lights died. The screams came next, followed by silence. And when the rescue team arrived, they found a banner hung over the gates. "Sam turned 6 today. You're welcome." It was no longer a revenge spree. It was a holiday. Across human colonies, May 28th became Sam Day. There were fireworks, pancakes, tribute videos. Soldiers painted little dogs on their helmets. Parents hugged their kids tighter. And every year, someone would vanish. A warlord, a slaver, a prison boss. No survivors, no body, just one note. "Happy birthday, Sam." Some aliens begged Earth to stop her. Earth responded, "She doesn't work for us. She's not on our payroll. She's just a mother." And the galaxy, for the first time in its sprawling, infinite history, collectively agreed on one truth. There is nothing more terrifying than a human with nothing to lose, except maybe one with a birthday calendar. There are many things that keep a warlord awake at night. Mutinies, supply shortages, unpaid mercs, the usual. But ever since the birthday massacre on Talia, an entirely new nightmare had wormed its way into the minds of tyrants and despots. They weren't afraid of assassins. They were afraid of dates. It started with whispers in the dark corners of the criminal underworld. A chart began to circulate, a calendar filled with red circles. Not Earth holidays, not Federation observances. They were children's birthdays. One circled date stood out, August 13th, Dylan. No one knew who Dylan was, until the Fortress labs on Vraxos 9 exploded on that exact day. The entire base, a genetics research facility accused of human trafficking, was leveled in 7 seconds. No survivors. Just a small patch of dirt glassed by high-yield plasma detonation. A child's crayon drawing lay at the epicenter. Stick figures, a dog, a sun, written in jagged handwriting. "My mom says bad people don't get cake." Governments panicked. What was once seen as a lone act of vengeance was now organized, intentional, celebratory. They called her the calendar killer. Others whispered, the birthday avenger, or just her. The Scarvathi tried to spin it in the news. Human propaganda, they said. Terrorism, they claimed, until their supply ships stopped arriving. Then their border patrols vanished. Then entire moons went dark. On September 5th, no known human holiday, their capital received a message. "Your list of crimes doesn't align with our holidays. We'll improvise." The Galactic Concord convened an emergency session. Representatives from over 82 species gathered in orbit above the neutral moon of Ilis. They debated for hours. "She's destabilizing entire quadrants. She's one person. She's killed 2,348 confirmed hostiles in under a year. She hasn't harmed a civilian." The Zothari delegate shook his fronds. "And you expect what exactly? That we capture her? Interrogate her? This woman chose to be tortured for a month just to time her escape with a party." Silence. Then the Earth ambassador spoke. He was old, sharp-eyed, calm. He adjusted his jacket. "We warned you," he said. "You kidnapped our people. You tortured a mother." "She's making a mockery of galactic justice." The ambassador smiled softly. "She is galactic justice." Alex Rourke never responded to political messages. She didn't posture. She didn't negotiate. She sent cards. On October 12th, the warship Varnok's Fist was found adrift in space, all crew unconscious, their weapons disassembled and arranged into a floral pattern. A note lay in the captain's quarters. "Nina turned 7. We made space pancakes." 1 week later, the smuggling cartel Black Fang found its main depot gutted. The walls had been spray-painted with children's handprints and glitter. Inside the vault, a teddy bear with a tiny helmet, and the message, "You stole kids. We stole your lungs." The galaxy reached its tipping point. The pirate clans of Rigel III held a press conference. On live stream, with shaky hands and watery eyes, their leader pleaded, We don't traffic humans. We give 'em cupcakes. We love birthdays. Look, balloons." A camera zoomed out to show dozens of confused human children at a massive alien birthday party. Cake, toys, party hats. The stream went viral. It was the safest Rigel 3 had been in years. Back on Earth, Sam Rourke turned 7. She didn't have a lot of friends, not because she wasn't nice, but because the other parents weren't sure what to do when your kid's mom was a galactic vengeance goddess. Still, she smiled as she opened her presents. A toy blaster, a plush war beast, a hollow chip labeled, "Open when you're 16. No one knew what was on it. Not even Earth's defense minister, only Sam and Alex. Somewhere on a forgotten moon, Alex Rourke sat alone by a campfire. She wore a stolen cloak. An old Scarvathi blaster rested on her lap. The stars shimmered overhead. She sipped from a thermos. Out of the shadows, a small alien child approached her, thin, scared, clutching a letter. She looked down. "Name?" The child held up the envelope. It said, "Please help. They took my brother." Alex stood. She didn't ask for coordinates. She didn't ask for payment. She just checked her calendar. "Perfect timing," she said. "Kid's birthday's next week." And with that, she vanished into the night. There is fear. Then there is silence. And then, there is reverence wrapped in terror. That's what Alex Rourke became. A myth wrapped in a blood-soaked bedtime story. Not sanctioned by Earth. Not endorsed by any fleet. Not funded. Not trained. Not even organized. She was just a mom with a personal grudge, a calendar, and a kill count that made Black Ops generals take notes. And now? Now the galaxy was copying her. It began with whispers on the darknet hubs of Traxxas Prime. Alien rebels and dissidents began tagging their messages with a strange phrase, "For Sam." No one explained it, but everyone knew. If someone tagged "For Sam," it meant, this operation isn't about politics. It's not about credit. It's about justice, swift, unapproved, and final. Scarvathi facilities began getting hit not just by Alex, but by others, angry, displaced, broken people with nothing left to lose, human, alien, even rogue AI. The message was clear. If you hurt the innocent, you don't get trials. You get a birthday party with explosives. On a jungle moon called IROC 7, a mining prison known for disappearing children went dark overnight. Rescue crews found the guards crucified in trees made of welded mining gear. Inside the warden's office, a plush toy sat on the desk. It played a tune when pressed. "Happy birthday to you." They never opened the safe beneath it, because they were too afraid of what was inside. Governments scrambled. New treaties were signed overnight. Species that once turned blind eyes to acceptable labor acquisitions suddenly became bastions of human rights. Because fear is faster than law, the Intergalactic Labor Guild issued a galaxy-wide notice. Any harm brought to a human child or to their guardians shall be considered an act of suicide. No one disagreed, but not everyone feared her. Some adored her. The Varelian Peace Choir, a species known for their near-mystical singing voices, composed an opera in her honor. It was banned within 5 hours of release. Too incendiary, too sympathetic, too effective. Because after listening to it, over 800 Scarvathi deserters surrendered en masse, laying down weapons and publicly declaring they refused to fight in a galaxy where mothers become monsters. And then came the political wild card. The Glasverian Senate, infamously neutral, publicly offered amnesty to Alex Rourke. They claimed it wasn't a pardon, it was a thank you. By purging the galaxy's worst parasites, their speaker announced, she's doing what our red-taped councils never could. She is not a terrorist, he added. She is a mother in mourning, and we all know what happens when you interrupt a mother's grief. The chamber stood and applauded. Even the Scarvathi delegate didn't object. He just left and was never seen again. Meanwhile, Earth had its own problem. Alex had become a symbol. Children wore Team Sam shirts. Mothers formed informal militia groups called Rourke's Wrath. Hallmark launched a Galactic Justice birthday card line until they got hacked and replaced all the messages with, "Say cake again, I dare you." Politicians didn't know what to do. She wasn't a rogue general. She wasn't on the payroll. But her face, half-shadowed, battle-worn, tired, and fierce, was more famous than any world leader. Even Earth's president once joked, "If I'm ever kidnapped, don't call the military. Call Sam's mom." And then it happened. They pushed too far. On the rim world of Kalor 5, a Scarvathi remnant faction captured an Earth kindergarten ship. They didn't mean to. They thought it was a transport. By the time they realized it was full of human children, it was too late. Alex Rourke was already en route. She didn't wait for authorization. She didn't announce her arrival. She landed, walked through the perimeter unchallenged, and burned the compound to glass. Not with bombs, with precision, with fire, with messages carved into walls in 30 languages. "You touched the wrong bus." The footage leaked, and the galaxy held its breath. Alex was filmed carrying the smallest child, barefoot, crying, covered in soot, through the smoke. She handed him to the Earth rescue team and walked away. The media begged for interviews. She said nothing. But the boy, when asked what she said to him, whispered one line. She said, "I'm not allowed to cry till after cake." That was the moment. The exact moment. When the galaxy realized she wasn't just a symbol of vengeance. She was a standard, a model, a reminder of what happens when empathy runs out. And Sam? She turned 8. Her party was small, just a few kids, a quiet park, a cake with tiny figurines. She blew out her candles and whispered, "I hope they don't make her work today." Back in orbit, deep in the blackness between stars, Alex Rourke held a hand to her earpiece as a message crackled through. Facility 9 reports another incident, children involved. She stared at her calendar. It wasn't anyone's birthday, but she stood anyway. I'll make an exception. The galaxy had run out of euphemisms. No more isolated vigilante. No more unaffiliated human agent. No more symbolic reprisal. They finally called it what it was, retribution. But it wasn't a war. Wars end. Wars have rules. This question mark, this was a mother with a to-do list and enough trauma to ignite a star. And she wasn't done. Facility 9, orbiting a desolate red moon, had been a Scarvathi legacy site, long forgotten by bureaucrats, but not by the children it broke. Alex Rourke stepped onto its dead soil alone. No armor, no backup, no fleet. Just her coat, her boots, and a detonator disguised as a charm bracelet. Inside, the guards laughed. They'd prepared this time. Fortified blast doors, drone swarms, anti-human gas mixtures. She let them talk. Then she coughed once. The gas detectors failed. The power grid short-circuited. And the last thing the commander saw was her silhouette, backlit by the fire she set with a match and a smile. "Your facilities never pass inspection," she said. The children were already gone, freed before she even entered. The galaxy was helping her now, because they were no longer afraid of her. They were afraid of being her. News spread fast. Human parents across colonies wore black armbands marked with one word, Sam. Not because they wanted violence, because they remembered who started it, because they remembered the silence when no one came to help, because the Federation had turned a blind eye, until she turned every eye toward their crimes with blood and birthday cake. On Earth, Sam Rourke turned 9. There was cake, balloons, a toy blaster that made annoying sounds. And then, at 7:42 p.m. Earth Standard Time, her comms unit blinked. Incoming transmission, Mom. She ran. The screen opened, static buzzed, and then her mother's face, battle-worn, but smiling. "Hey, Bug," Alex whispered. "You missed my party again," Sam pouted. "I know, I'm sorry. There were messes to clean." Sam frowned. "Still?" "Not anymore." Silence. Then Sam whispered, "Are you coming home?" And for the first time in years, Alex Rourke said, "Yes." It wasn't easy. The Scarvathi filed sanctions. The Conquered demanded trials. The Federation debated moral frameworks. Earth shrugged. "She never worked for us," the president said. "And besides, she's a mom. You want to arrest her for that?" No one volunteered, not even the bounty hunters. One was interviewed anonymously. "You go arrest the lady who vaporized an orbital prison using birthday candles. I'll be over here, petting my dog and writing apology letters to my mother." So she came home. No parades, no banners, no medals. Just a dusty old landing pad in Nebraska, 2 dogs barking, and a little girl who tackled her like a missile made of joy. Alex cried for the first time in years, because she didn't have to be the butcher. She didn't have to be Sam's shadow. She could just be Mom. Years passed. The legend of Alex Rourke faded into history, as legends do. New wars came, new villains rose, but every now and then, on a quiet moon or in the shadow of some forgotten prison, someone would vanish. A warlord, a trafficker, a corrupt warden, and in their place, left behind on a napkin or a dusty control panel, "My kid's turning 10. You should have stayed kind." Sam grew older. She joined Earth's diplomatic corps, but her badge said nothing about her mother. She never bragged. She didn't need to, because everyone remembered. And when peace treaties were signed, especially the hard ones, everyone checked the date, just to make sure it wasn't a birthday. The galaxy never forgot, not because of the death toll, not because of the spectacle, but because it learned something no war had ever taught them. You don't threaten a species that celebrates vengeance with frosting. You don't mess with a mother's child. And above all, you never forget the calendar.